I honestly think we should have already crossed 100,000. The system is so broken. The spring is coiled so tightly that I honestly wake up every day, I look at it, I'm expecting to see it going up 10K, 20K, 30K. The demand is far outpacing supply and sellers seem to be exhausted. Trump likes to checkmark his promises. Like when he said he'll build a wall, he didn't build a wall straight across, which was kind of implying. He built a wall like, part way. So if he says he's going to create a Bitcoin reserve treasury of 1 million Bitcoin, if he does 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, that's still good. I was in Japan and I create one slide that says how much Bitcoin a country should have based on their gold holdings.
And what's your ratio? Is it like the same? Like the same amount of gold you have, you should have the same amount of Bitcoin? Okay.
Tether has won the battle for stablecoins. Every dollar stablecoin that's launched has just floundered. Circle is in decline. Tether has won. It's just like a common standard now in the entire world. By and large, there is no way to displace Tether. It has network effects.
Samson Mow, thanks for being here with me.
Good to be here, Efrat.
Once again, I'm so happy to have you back on my show.
It's an honor. We're going to continue from where we left off, right?
I know, I think so. It wasn't a long time ago, but it just feels like so much has happened since March this year. We're now in October, almost November. This 7 months. It feels like 2 years of everything that has happened during that time. And you are working on some really incredible stuff, state level, corporate level, wallet level. There are so many things that you have your hands in. So I'd love to, let's start with unpacking this. Maybe we'll start with, we talked last time about Aqua and the wallet, and it was just launching.
Yeah.
So how's it going?
Yeah, we were in meeting in March. We launched for maybe 2 months. Now we've got like 45,000 downloads, installs, and people really love it. And I think it's because it's one of the few wallets you can actually use to give someone a little bit of Bitcoin. So either your choice now is custodial, and then yes, you can get someone a wallet and give them $1, or you can use a non-custodial Lightning wallet, but then you have to open a channel to them, or they have to open a channel first before you can send them $1. But with Aqua, they can install it, you can send them $1 into Liquid, and it's over the Lightning rails if you need to, but then they can spend that and they can actually receive it and have it as a bearer asset, and it's non-custodial. So I think that's why people are pushing it, because they're actually using it to onboard new people.
That's what I do.
Yeah, thank you.
I just told Philip before.
Thank you.
That whenever I orange pill someone and they go, so what do I do? How do I just download this Aqua?
Yeah.
And let's start. And then I pass sats and they have it straight away. And then they ask me, the second thing that happened is they ask me, why do I have those two? And then it's my opportunity to explain the difference between layer 1, layer 2. So it's a really handy tool for onboarding people.
Yeah, and I hope we keep making it better. But the other interesting thing is we seem to have a large user base in Argentina and Brazil. And we're not sure why, but we just do.
Without doing anything active on your side in those countries?
It's all organic. All of this is organic.
Okay.
I mean, I've talked about it on a few podcasts briefly, but I don't think that's the reason. I think it's just organic and it's product market fit and people are just pushing it to their friends. Yeah. But we're not sure why Argentina and Brazil, but we're going to run with it. So we have an integration.
We can guess why. It's not hard to guess why. It's just the value of the money and the hardship in terms of economics. So if it works for one person, obviously they would like their friends and family to be on board so they can use it as well.
Yeah. But the next phase is doing more on and off ramp. So right now, Aqua has the swaps from Bitcoin to layer 2 Bitcoin to Tether. And then we have transport rails for Tether to other chains. And then we have, Liquid and Lightning transport. But now we want to focus on and off ramp. So letting people cash out or buy Bitcoin.
Let's explain for my audience that don't know the terms on and off ramps.
Yeah, so on and off ramp, it's just how you get money into Bitcoin or into Tether.
Yes.
But you need to connection to some fiat gateway, like a bank potentially,
yes,
or a payment provider or another service provider.
Yep.
So the interesting thing is we're working with Rosello. He was sitting to my left yesterday.
Yes.
And we'll be able
from Brazil, right?
Yes, from Brazil. We'll be able to integrate PixPay, which will let us have our users cash out to pay people in Brazilian reals directly from Bitcoin.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see 2025 as a very big year because we have that Brazilian one and we also have something in Mexico, which I can't reveal to you yet.
Okay.
But it's actually going to be very big. But the next phase is really just getting all these on and off ramps in Latin America. And I think the utility level of the wallet will just go up 10x just because you can travel with it everywhere you want. And
that's exactly what I told Philip before. I told him my favorite use case is I just do an on-chain from my Bitcoin to Aqua, $500, $1,000. I then have it in Lightning and I travel and I don't need to carry anything with me.
Yeah, well, it might be better than that too. So next year we're planning to integrate a debit card and VI ban in Europe. So if you have a European bank account, you can connect your European bank account through the VI ban, buy Bitcoin from that directly in the layer 2. So you don't even need the on-chain Bitcoin transaction.
Super cool. Very cool. Okay, there's stuff to look forward to in the Aqua.
We have a user.
Ralphie. Yeah, Ralphie is also a Bitcoiner and has an Aqua. Okay, wonderful. So this is on the Aqua level. Anything else about that? You guys are, it's amazing that you...
We're just plowing ahead.
Just word of mouth. This is really great. Okay, and then I saw you recently in Germany in the Bundestag.
Yes.
With Joanna.
Yes.
Can you share what you were doing there?
Yeah, so there's an initiative in Germany called Bitcoin im Bundestag. And her goal is to get Bitcoiners in front of the politicians, MPs, and other people to show that Bitcoin is not something you should be fearful of or hate. It's also an initiative where she's bringing German Bitcoiners into the parliament too, because I think there's been this sort of separation where people don't feel it's their own government and they can't go there, but technically they work for us and you should be able to go there.
Right.
So it's a good initiative for both directions, bi-directional education and just bringing everyone together. So I went there. We planned this a long time ago, and I think I'm the final session of their year. And hopefully there's more next year, but I wrapped it up and talked to them about Bitcoin. They said normally there's not many questions, but I think we had like a 40 minute question session after, which is very encouraging. And there's some MPs asking questions about Bitcoin. So it's whatever Joanna is doing, it's working, I think. And she's great.
Excellent.
You're the Voice is brought to you by Trezor, the original Bitcoin hardware wallet company pioneering the development of self-custody for crypto assets since 2013, empowering individuals with an open source device, enabling beginners and experts to easily and securely hold their coins. I find my Trezor super easy to use and recommend it to my friends and family. Enjoy my 5% discount on Trezor products by clicking the link in the show notes and using the code FLAT.
Were they asking intelligent questions?
Yeah, I would say so.
I saw one of your slides was don't sell your Bitcoin,
yes,
as they tried to do or did that recently.
Well, the Saxony did it, but from our perspective, it's Germany.
Yes.
But I also added a slide for how much Bitcoin they should have.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this in other places I've gone to. I was in Taiwan, I was in Japan, and I create one slide that says how much Bitcoin a country should have based on their gold holdings. So their tonnage of gold at the market value converted to Bitcoin. So, like, for example, Germany, I think, was 281,000 Bitcoin.
And what's your ratio? Is it like the same? Like the same amount of gold you have, you should have the same amount of Bitcoin? Okay.
And the reason that I do that is then there's no really debate about what is Bitcoin and should you have Bitcoin, because you're anchoring it to gold.
Right.
So if I tell you you should have 281,000 Bitcoin and you say, well, why? I'll say you have a couple thousand tons of gold. Why do you have the gold?
Right. So it's
you think about it yourself.
Yeah, of course.
If it's for
safety, hedging,
protection, geopolitical de-risking, the ability to buy things that you need in times of conflict, or
emergency,
propping up your currency, whatever reasons you have for the gold, it's the same exact reason.
Interesting way of getting at it. And what about the mining argument? Because this is something you always talk about with states, right?
Well, the problem with Germany is they have no energy because they shut down all their nuclear plants. So I had a section talking about why nuclear energy is important, why most green energy is kind of a scam. Because
Thank you.
Solar panels are made of coal.
Yes.
And I walk them through that process. You take
I want to listen to that. Is that recorded anywhere?
I think so.
Okay.
You take a chunk of coal, you take the quartz, and then you melt it together. And how do you melt it together? You take another piece of coal to heat it in an arc furnace. And then, you get the silicon metal and you get carbon dioxide. So solar panels are green once you have the final product.
Yeah.
But
not in the process.
How do you get to the final product? And then where does the final product go after? it's kind of toxic waste too, right? So I think nuclear is a better solution. So I kind of tried to touch on that. And the way Joanna framed it was most of the MPs don't want to go to the session. They don't want to be affiliated with Bitcoin. So there's two things they do. One is they send their delegates there.
Okay.
And they
Yep.
they go and
educate
listen.
them, and they will educate me later.
Yeah, because they don't want to be seen at the Bitcoin thing with
Yep.
the, evil Bitcoiners like me.
Oh my God, yeah.
Other thing is they watch the video later. So I'm kind of preparing this presentation as a package of what I think is wrong and what can improve and be done better overall. Not just Bitcoin, but energy too.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. So other countries other than Germany that you visited lately, if you can share, or at least what is the trajectory of nation state adoption?
I think it's heating up. I was in it. It was. I wasn't going to say it, but I told Joanna, and she told it to the Bundestag. So,
So it's revealed.
But I was in Thailand with Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, something is happening there. I can't say exactly what, but I think it's gonna be good. Fingers crossed.
I don't know if you're aware, but Thailand is super progressive on their CBDCs and digital ID infrastructure and the whole thing. And I was talking about it yesterday in my talk. And whatever we can get into Thailand that is in parallel to that trajectory would be a blessing because the population there, they're starting with the low income earners. 50 million people that are going to be part of that project, and it's just so needed that people will also have access to Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do something, and I see our initiatives as a counterpoint to the push for CBDCs. We can just complain and say, "Oh, that's bad. It's not going to work." But if nobody engages to push something on the Bitcoin side, then they're just going to run rampant with that initiative, those types of initiatives. So I feel like the work we do is valuable. At least I think so.
It is so valuable. We need it so much. And that's why I always encourage people in the end of my annoying presentations about CBDCs, is just, be aware that that's happening. And now your call to action is do something with Bitcoin, onboard people, orange pill, reach out to politicians, do something so that we can at least experience a different reality, where we don't have to be all surveilled and controlled in such a dystopian way.
Yeah. I think a lot of Bitcoiners like to say honey badger don't care. But honey badger cannot care because we're kind of the armor, the thick fur that's insulating it, right? If the honey badger didn't have that thick fur, I'm pretty sure it would care.
100%. And, it doesn't matter how much we think we are on a Bitcoin standard. Some of us, maybe some Bitcoiners are on Bitcoin standard. You live in a fiat reality. We are still in fiat life, right? To some extent, depending where you live, depending what kind of life you're leading. Yeah. So this is not going away. This is just accelerating. And if we don't do our part in accelerating the orange path, then this is going to overtake at some point. I hope it doesn't happen, but it could. Yeah. So I think we need to be active and prepared about it. So obviously I really like what you're doing. What do you think about Bhutan recently and what we've seen?
So my take on it is that they are mining Bitcoin, but they're trying to be a little bit quiet about it, which kind of is at odds because it's blasted all over the media now. Yeah. Because I think they still have relations with lenders like IMF or whatnot. But I think it's going to be hard for them not to present like, we got $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and we need a loan. I don't think it's going to work well. So I hope I can have some connection there. I want to reach out to them and engage with them to see if they can do Bitcoin as legal tender.
So if anyone with relationship to Bhutan is listening to this, please reach out to Samson or to Gen 3. What about Suriname?
Suriname, Maya is running for president. I think you know her, you spoke with her. I wish her the best of luck, and it sounds like her campaign is picking up steam.
I hope so. She's so courageous. She's just amazing. And are there any other countries that we should be paying attention to in the coming years? Or even states? I think the US is doing some nice progress with all the different bills that are passing.
Yeah, the way I see it is a lot of people are just going to wait until the US does something. And that the likelihood of the U.S. doing something is obviously dependent on Trump winning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your feelings are on Trump, but I would take him over Kamala.
Of course, I would take him over Kamala. I would probably not vote if I was there, but
Yeah.
still, I would take him over Kamala.
Yeah. So
Sure.
Trump likes to checkmark his promises. Like when he said he'll build a wall, he didn't build a wall straight across, which was kind of implying. He built a wall part way. So if he says he's going to create a Bitcoin reserve treasury of 1 million Bitcoin, if he does 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, that's still good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will be a signal to the rest of the world that this is happening. And I think the domino effect will start to kick off when they see the US actually making a move. And I believe the US has to make a move because they're kind of backed into a corner with the spiraling debt that there is no way to get out of. The only way is to rebase the Bitcoin. And Trump has hinted at it. I don't know if he really understands it, but he said, we'll pay off the debt with a little bit of Bitcoin.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did.
In the speech?
We'll give him a little bit of debt.
Okay.
We'll give him a little bit of Bitcoin to pay the debt. And I've been saying you should just rebase dollars to Satoshi and say your debt is now repayable in sats.
Uh-huh.
And you might think it's crazy, but it's actually not.
It's so funny that you say that. The other thing that Trump was saying when I heard him during that speech is CBDC is not going to happen, not on my watch, but I am going to promote an official stablecoin for the US. So what are your thoughts about national stablecoins for countries?
It depends how it's structured. I mean, if it is, not centralized to one entity, but it's federated, it could be interesting where you can monitor the supply and, if you can see the issuance and burn, there's probably no burn, but you can see the issuance and you can verify for yourself.
What do you mean can see the issuance on the blockchain,
Yeah,
you mean?
if they do a national
If they
stablecoin.
put transparency on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there's no difference between a digital dollar and the dollar now, except for you could have more transparency.
Yeah.
It can only get better from the way it is right now,
Okay.
in my view. But I don't know if they'll do it the right way or if they'll build privacy in. Just like the panel we spoke yesterday with Marcelo, it's like,
Yes.
they rolled out a CBDC in which country was it? I forgot his example, but they didn't have any transparency. So when you transact with
In Brazil, he was giving the example
oh right, it was
of Brazil.
Yeah. So you transact to your cousin sees all your money.
And they failed dismally because of that. Okay.
So an idea is an idea. Implementation and execution are two other separate things. So we'll see what Trump does if he does that.
If it's Trump, if it's...
I think it will be Trump.
I hope so. Let's see.
Well, the devil's in the details. And like I said yesterday in the panel, most countries are not equipped to build a stable CBDC or even a stable coin.
You were referring mostly to the interoperability part of it, the fact that they will not be able to transact with other countries. But do you really think that they will not be able to put that together? Even if it takes them 4, 5, 6 years, they can build that, the interoperability part.
They need to open it at that point, right? But the key is how do you onboard someone to a CBDC?
They have a project called Embridge that does that creates the interoperability system between different central banks for wholesale CBDC.
We'll see how it works
Okay.
because there are also data protection laws. At least there should be data protection laws. So would the central bank of one European country be okay that the data of their citizens is shared with, I don't know, Kazakhstan?
Let's see how they build it. Okay.
Interoperability of closed systems is a very big problem. This is why Bitcoin fixes so many things.
I get it. Okay. So you're saying that could be like a weak point, that because of that weak point, maybe they will fail.
Not just that. It's just there are so many complexities to rolling out complex systems. It's complicated.
Yeah.
And COVID is a perfect example of not thinking through the entire complexity and nuance and edge cases of how these things interact with one another. So COVID is a great example for everyone.
Okay,
so
let's do that.
We want everyone to travel with their vaccine card or whatever. Who does that? It's the people at the ticket counter when they issue your boarding pass. Show me the thing. How do they verify the thing? How do they verify your COVID vaccination card from another country? They have no idea. They'll look at it and think it's real, go, right? But you're also making the whole system more inefficient. So now those guys, their job was to just give you your boarding pass. Now you're making them into default kind of, gatekeepers for
Yeah, they
COVID
become
vaccination
police officers. Yeah.
of some sort, right?
Yeah.
That has knock-on effects, which makes the lines longer. People miss their flights because they
Yes.
couldn't board on time, and now
Yes.
you have, the whole thing get backlogged and it all breaks down. So imagine that.
But they still did that.
Well, yeah, and then it broke down.
Yeah.
So, this is why we do
You're
what we
just
do.
saying
but
it's not sustainable. They can try.
I'm just saying it's more complicated than anyone that is rolling out a CBDC has an inkling of. So you go to the airport in another country, you want to change your, I don't know, euros for dollars now. What do you have to do? You have to download their app. And then you have to KYC through the app. Your data is leaking all over the place too, and there's going to be a breach. It's just going to be a nightmare process.
I so hope that all of these complexities are going to stop that train. I really hope so. Just looks like they want to tackle everything from the different documentation that I'm reading from central banks. They're like thinking about every detail right now.
Yeah.
They're
So
actually thinking
what
about
if you have a problem?
internet connection. They're thinking about that as well.
So what happens if you go to the airport, you don't have data, or the Wi-Fi breaks down because everyone needs to connect to the Wi-Fi to download the app? And now
Things will just stop.
their app is not localized, or if it is localized, you don't understand how to do it. You need to call customer support. Are they going to provide customer support in 30 languages? Nothing's going to work. Good luck.
Yeah, sure. I'm with you. Like, you give me hope, but I really hope that that's what's going to happen. And because I just think that they're going for it all in, but I really hope that you're right.
They'll go for it all in, but it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. They're going to fall on their faces. Let's hope so.
Yeah. To do this, maybe you might need a. Well,
They're pushing through the whole digital ID infrastructure in almost every country that I'm hearing about, because they all want to get to a situation where they have everything digitized, your identity digitized. They can share the data, and they'll create some common framework. They have all these fancy words to justify this. They'll be like a global database of identities, and they'll be swapping around information.
good luck.
Yeah. Okay.
Good luck. Let's see them do it. But
I'm
just
playing devil's advocates, right? I obviously don't want it to happen.
It's good to play devil's advocate, but you take all that complexity I just outlined, and that's not even the whole of it. Now you have to add another layer, which is the cost. So in Canada, we had our COVID app called ArriveCan.
Yeah.
That costs like $58 million to build. And it's just an app where you punch in your information.
Yeah.
It's like a form.
Yeah.
That costs $58 million. So let's just say maybe it should have cost $1 million. So that's already 58 times what it should cost. Now you imagine this global system that's going to interoperate with everything, with all the necessary ways to onboard and verify and manage all this stuff. Multiply the cost of that by 58. You're looking at $1 trillion, $2 trillion project. Do they have money to do that, especially if they don't have Bitcoin?
Well, they'll continue inflating the fiat
You
bubble.
can't, though.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, no.
So they'll never build it.
I mean, they'll find an excuse maybe to print that. No?
Yeah, but then they'll break the system, and then we go hyper-Bitcoinization.
Yay, then we win.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I bring to people's attention is that if they see a really big public resistance to CBDCs, they may do simple marketing tactic and go, okay, we'll create a national or commercial bank stablecoin, or they'll authorize commercial banks to issue different types of stablecoins, and we'll go, we listen to you. There's no more CBDC, but now you get this stablecoin instead, which is also programmable, and we're controlling it, and
Yeah.
that's not going to happen either.
Tether has won the battle for stablecoins.
Okay.
You look at all the new stablecoins launching, it's just,
They're doing it in Israel.
Yeah.
It's called bills. They're doing it in Nigeria. It's called CNGN. They're doing it in Australia.
problem is you can only do it for USD because, like I said, everything is a derivative of the dollar in some way. You go down in the food chain far enough, you find it's the derivative of the dollar. So why would you want the lower food chain stablecoin? But if you want to fight on the dollar stablecoin, Tether has won. Every dollar stablecoin that's launched has just floundered. Circle is in decline. Tether has won. It's just like a common standard now in the entire world that you just use Tether.
Mm-hmm.
You can make something else and you'll have to anchor it to Tether and swap to Tether, provide liquidity for that swap, but by and large, there is no way to displace Tether. It has network effects.
Correct, for sure. And then, so let me ask you about Tether. So Tether, on the one hand, is being used as a lifeline in a lot of emerging countries to really help people just get access to their daily needs, right? If they didn't have Tether, if they didn't have what they call the digital dollar, they won't be able to really buy stuff or even survive in some of these countries, which is quite an amazing use case, a brilliant product market fit, right? It happened organically. People found it. They're now using it. They're adopting it. It's like fire. How do you call it? Like fire exploding everywhere. So that's great on the one hand. On the other hand, Tether is buying treasury bills in order to create a treasury where they can then against it issue more of the stablecoins that they're creating. And that, in an indirect way, helps the US dollar to continue inflating the fiat bubble. Right? The increase the debt, the national debt of the country.
They will inflate anyways. So it's not like Tether is helping them to inflate. They would inflate regardless. The only thing is Tether is creating demand for treasuries.
Yes.
Right? So
and is that not a problematic thing in any way, in your view?
Well, yeah, I've heard that argument from some Bitcoiners on some podcasts saying Tether is propping up the dollar. I would not deny that Tether is a valuable ally of the dollar because they're giving it utility, right? But you have to think of it from a free market's perspective. If it wasn't Tether creating this thing, it would be someone else, like Circle. So you have to understand that the void will be filled historically. If you build a time machine, you go back, someone will fill that void, right? If it wasn't Tether, it'd be somebody else. And would they be Bitcoin friendly and would they be building a Bitcoin treasury? If you look at what we have right now, Circle isn't building a Bitcoin treasury, you know? They're not even focused on helping the rest of the world. They're focused on serving the US. So
and Tether is.
Yeah, exactly. So if you take into account that there will be a stable coin that will become dominant, this is the best possible outcome that we could possibly have.
Fine, great. I accept it. And I think that we cannot really fight what's happening naturally in a free market and in the world.
But we can take advantage of that. So like I was saying, Tether has built inroads for Bitcoin actually.
Yes.
You would think, Bitcoin would have built the inroads and we, go Tether through the Bitcoin channels, but it's not. Because people are seeking out the digital dollar. They're not seeking out Bitcoin. And this is something Bitcoiners don't fully understand yet. But we do, so we built Aqua. That's our advantage. But they're seeking out the dollar. They don't even know what Tether is. They just want that digital dollar that is about $1, right? And then they don't have to worry about it. They have other things to do. They have a business, they have children, they have their own lives. They shouldn't be worried about, doing all these things. Like even you could look at it as investing your money in the stock market is a defect of the monetary system because why do you need to invest your money to not lose purchasing power? But back to that example, they just want the dollar. And they know Tether now. And we can use that opportunity to introduce them to Bitcoin. That's why we have Aqua with your savings and your spending. So they will use Aqua because they're seeking the dollar, and then they will learn about Bitcoin.
Are we really close to the next bull run? Like, are we already in it? How do you see?
Yeah.
Mr. Omega, how do you see? Is this your Omega watch?
It's always Omega time.
How do you see us progressing in the trajectory of this cycle?
I honestly think we should have already crossed the 100,000. And
so what's happening then? Is it broken?
Market suppression?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, the demand is far outpacing supply, and sellers seem to be exhausted. So I don't know where it's coming from. I have a theory that it's paper Bitcoin saturating the market.
ETFs?
I don't know, maybe more FTX style. So
interesting.
We'll see what happens, but that cannot be kept up forever.
Okay.
And I think the demand from the ETFs is sort of like coiling the spring even tighter, removing the mine supply. And you have miners that are stopping selling and starting to be net buyers too, because if they're public, they should be able to issue debt to buy Bitcoin. So Omega is coming. First Godzilla, then Omega. 10K daily, 100K daily.
You always make me so bullish, Samson. I want to go buy.
We'll see. Like, it just seems inevitable that the system is so broken the spring is coiled so tightly that I honestly wake up every day, I look at it, I'm expecting to see it going up 10K, 20K, 30K.
And the hash rate is also at a very high rate, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Okay. What else? What can we expect from Samson's little surprise box coming in the next year? I don't know. You're working on so many projects.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. There's always a surprise guy. You're like Mary Poppins. You open the bag and then you bring all that big stuff.
Could be something big in January next year.
Ooh, okay.
We'll see.
I want you to be in touch with me and let me know, okay?
Okay. Michael will leak it to you probably. Right?
Don't tell anyone I've got an insider.
You're a spy.
I'm a spy.
You have a spy inside Jan 3.
No. So Michael is a friend of mine. He works with Jan 3. He lives in Thailand. He's a treasurer. He's such a great guy. He does, if people don't know, every week on Tuesday afternoon, a meetup in Koh Phangan. So if you're in Koh Phangan, if you're in Thailand and you plan to go there, you should go to his meetups. He has people sitting in a cafe and he just answers all the questions.
Yeah.
No matter how beginner or advanced you are, he will just sit there with you until you understand everything. And he helps people open wallets. He's just amazing, this guy. And he just volunteers from his time to do all that stuff. So such a great guy. I hope to take him with me to Australia next year. There's a conference in March in Sydney. And I want him to meet some really great politicians and people there.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll open some doors. I hope that some of the politicians that I've been interviewing in Australia, like Senator Malcolm Roberts, which I planted the seed once. So let's see if he agrees to have a meeting. So yeah, I'll try to open some doors there.
Great stuff.
Cool. Anything else you want to share before we finish up?
Can't think of anything.
Okay. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
I will.